When did you realize your friend was toxic? When I realized I felt dread every time their message icon popped up. When he brought his totally cool friends over. And then they stole some of my stuff and he defended them. Nah, trust me. You don't wanna ask her out. She's just a hoe. He then proceeded to try it on with her. Backhanded compliments. Also comments that she is amazing thinly veiled as a put down. Almost like fishing for compliments. I didn't want to hang out with her anymore when I realized I never felt good after spending time with her. When he started defining friendships as people who are blindly loyal to him and his actions. Is your friend Dutch van der Linde? I lived with her and realized one day on the way home from work that I had more anxiety about going home to her than anything else in my life. She also tried to talk about me to my boyfriend. She told me she was cheating on her husband. While laughing about how funny it was that her boyfriend would come over to the house and hang out with her husband and her and their newborn. After I told her that wasn't cool and we weren't friends anymore. She told everyone that I was sleeping with her husband and an abusive drunk. Note all. Happy ending, dad divorced and got full custody. I got new friends. When she lied about having cancer. I was considering suicide and he was encouraging me to do it. When they stole my Adderall prescription. Tried to help me find it. It was stolen during a party we threw. Then spent the next few weeks staying up until 8 AM playing FIFA like that was something totally normal. Have you seen my Adderall? Oh man. She tricked one of my friends that she was pregnant with their child. And used my phone to do it. She used to steal my phone while I was sleeping and text my friend, guy she hooked up with, pretending to be me. Saying shit like OMG is throwing up again this morning and various other pregnancy things to convince the guy. She was not pregnant and 100% knew she wasn't. She started copying me. Everything about me. It was something straight out of Single White Female. She started using my frequent phrases. Tried to pick up all my hobbies. And started dressing exactly like me. The final straw was when she started getting really possessive when I would hang out with people without her and tried to turn me against all my other friends. We aren't friends anymore. But everyone tells me she's still obsessed with me and talks about how I abandoned her to anyone who will listen. When my friend would never criticize himself for his mistakes. He would always blame others and make others just feel downright useless sometimes. When he kept on trying to jeopardize my sobriety. I would block his number. He would get a new one. I blocked him on all social media. He would create new accounts. I'm going on a year of being sober and to this day he stalks me and tries to get me to slip up. It's quite exhausting running from an abusive ex-BFX dealer while trying to maintain my sanity and sobriety. Oh. And he was going to murder me. I wish he would just drop off the face of the earth. Meth is a hell of a drug. I never want to touch it or be around people that use it ever again. Edit. A word. Second edit. Thank you all for the love and encouragement. I would just like to add that. Yes, I am in therapy and yes, I also attend substance abuse group therapy and no, I will not contact the authorities. When she threatened to hurt herself if I didn't do what she wanted. She asked me if she could sleep over at my house one night. I told her no. Since I had grandparents visiting the next day. She continued and tried to convince me to let her. She said that if I let her, she would stop cutting. But if I didn't, it would be my fault if she died. I didn't let her. I ditched her the same year. She's still alive to this day, hopefully. She has a girlfriend and is moving out of town soon. I knew for a long time. But I was done trying the day he threw a knife at a mutual close friend of ours during an argument. That argument started over whether you could correctly call the inside of a strawberry squishy. I shit you not. That's how I ended a decade-long friendship. When I sacrificed a lot of precious family time to help out my friends. Only to get to hell of bullshit and insults from said friends as a thanks. When he started cheating on his GF indiscriminately and then brag about it. And to make matters worse, I then GF was friends with his. So he indirectly involved me in his lies when I had to cover his dumb ass. We ended up fighting over it and aren't really close anymore. When he destroyed the entire surface of my main Terraria world with rockets. Everything I did was wrong. My food choices. My hobbies. Boys I liked. They may have wanted a friend. But it sure as hell wasn't me. When I moved states and they didn't notice. When they made plans in front of me and didn't invite me. When I discovered that he wasn't a traumatized veteran, but had instead fabricated his entire military experience. He had never served at all. When he openly berated me in front of my flatmates and tried to play it off as a joke. Even though I made it pretty clear that the things he went on about were pretty big insecurities. Kept making snide comments about me being unattractive. Making fun of my attempts to lose weight. And then got snappy when I got short with him about it. He thought it was fine for him to just be completely bitchy just because he was gay. Thankfully he's 100% out of my life now. Don't want anything to do with that guy again. When I realized that I was afraid to tell her things because I didn't want to be judged and talked about behind my back. I realized that while I sometimes enjoyed hanging out with her, I always felt worse we'd meet up. She was the type of person who needed to be cynical to validate her own opinions. So being around her just started to be really taxing. She also tried to make out with me. Despite knowing that I was not interested in her. And in a very serious relationship. That was the death knell. When she only made me feel bad. When my dad died and my best friend didn't text me. But managed to message a friend, who I previously slept with a few weeks before, of mine for a dick appointment. He asked her if she had messaged me about my dad. When she said no, he said you should message your friend. He was texting me through this situation too. She knew for 5 days that my dad passed. The weekend my dad died I comforted her through a breakup. I hadn't told her then, but she found out 2 days later from a mutual friend of ours. I ended the friendship after that. Lost 2 of the most important people in my life within a week. When she would never respect my boundaries but flipped out if I didn't conform to hers. When he said I beat him up. Backstory. I was about 8/9 at the time and had just got out of the shower. I saw him from my bedroom window going to my other friend's next door neighbor house. After I got dressed I sat on my DS for about 10 minutes when me and my mum hear someone pounding at the door. It was his mum. Queen of the Karens. The Susan. She screamed at my mum that I had just assaulted her perfect little angel. My mum then shouted her down and told her I was just out of the shower and her child was a lying little brat. Before this he said I pushed him into a stream when he fell down himself like a jackass. I never got my retribution though. When he lost his tea that we came second to a group of girls in pub trivia. Then on the car ride home ranted about how it'll never happen again and he refuses to let a group of bitches get the better of him. Really disappointing stuff. When I noticed she was a pathological liar, I gave birth to a pterodactyl. I started to realize that they're toxic after I felt that they're intentionally making me feel out of place because I can't join them when they wanna hang out somewhere or get drunk. I'm not an alcoholic person and they make me feel bad for not joining them have fun. Most of the time. I don't also have enough money to go wherever they wanna go. Hence, calling me a killjoy. Now, they're starting to treat me as if I'm no one. Always the last option in the group. No one wants to go with me during lunch. They only notice me when they ask for help on a particular subject. It just makes me sad. He was telling all of our friends that he also missed me and our friendship without ever reaching out to me to smooth things over or to make plans. There was plenty of stuff before this. But that was the straw for me. He was an expert at fooling people into thinking he was a good person and a lot of people are still falling for it. When she said that she wanted an apology from 2 other friends for not including her, When they stopped asking if she wanted to hang out as much because she was always busy and they were terrible at planning. Yet she refused to allow them near her, and then she said that the trans one of those two other friends should drown in the lake after I posted a pic of us at the lake. She pretended to have millions of dollars but lived in a condo. Always told ridiculous lies like she flew to New York overnight and she had 5 pairs of AirPods and 3 Apple Watches. She just kept them at home. All lies. She was a pathological, compulsive liar who was manipulating and told unbelievable and outrageous lies and expected everyone to believe them. She also was a know-it-all and used fake facts to make it seem like she was right. I was only friends with her because I was the new kid and no one else was nice to me. To make a long story short, I cut her off, made new friends, and now I don't even talk to her anymore. When he started hitting me and calling me bad things, I can't get away because he always follows me. At least I'll be moving soon. It occurred to me I hadn't seen her post anything to Facebook for a while. So I checked and she had blocked me. I emailed her to ask what was wrong. Her response was a rambling, manipulative, domineering list of everything she thought I had done imperfectly for the past 2 years, attached to an ultimatum that I accept full responsibility and believe what I was told to believe. The most bizarre of them was when she declared that if I truly understood the basis of friendship I would be a fan of Kanye West. Unfortunately, we had a wedding of a mutual friend coming up, so as much fun as it would have been to let her know how I really felt, I didn't want her making a scene at the wedding. So I bit the bullet and told her what she needed to hear and then cut her out of my life entirely. When I realized that she never really included me or did anything for me. When they started insulting literally everything, everyone, and thinking they were the absolutely coolest. When they told me straight up that they were used to manipulating people. She slept with a guy I was in love with. We weren't in a relationship, but she knew my feelings for him. Slept with him the very night that I confessed that to her. And then later said that he arped her. He did not. I found out much later that she had invited him over and cried and begged to sleep with him. I forgave her and actually let her stay with me over the summer rent-free CZ her housing fell through. Then she proceeded to sleep with another guy I was hooking up with and then flirt with another guy I was potentially wanting to date. Came out in a flimsy bathrobe when he was hanging out with me. And then always played the victim and claimed life had wronged her always. It took me a year, but I completely cut her off. When she started making mean comments about absolutely everyone. Stupid shit like Donna walks like a lesbian. And Katie probably has lice because she scratched her head once. Now you come to mention it, Donna does walk a bit like a lesbian. We went through hell together. She was bulimic and hurting herself and I was always supporting her even though I was anorexic and 80 pounds and my body was physically not functioning. I would never ask about myself. She would stay in my house and sleep over during 5th through middle school. I switched schools then. I went to her best friend's party even though I do not like her at all. I went to her 15th. We hadn't talked in months or seen each other. I asked her to join my 16th. It was a small BBQ and she said no because she didn't want to force our friendship because I was bullshitting her. This is the first time I had fully offered her to do something since we first met in Faith Guard. When he stole my wife. Stings because it's a bit fresh. He told me all the reasons he thought it was okay to lie to me. He thought it was okay if it was to protect me. Or something I wouldn't find out about anyways. Or something that was none of my business. Etc. The list was long. Then he went on to rail about how he didn't believe people who said he would have been in less trouble for previous offenses had he not lied about them. It occurred to me in all of this that he expected everyone else to lie to him. Because he would lie to them about all kinds of things. I'm a fairly forward person. If I don't want to tell you something, I'll straight out say I don't want to talk about it. If you push past that, I'll get pretty pissed off at you for not respecting my desire for privacy. But that's about it. That conversation there was when I realized that I just didn't want to be around that person anymore. He smashed the back of my head with an ice block, putting that part of my brain under some trauma that has since then made it difficult to remember things on short term. Why did he do this? Because I defended my other good friend who he was shouting homophobic remarks towards for no apparent reason other than getting a reaction. He was always a bit on the violent side. Easy to get ticked off, but it was that day where I found out what a psycho, and it was that day that started off the 6 years of constant bullying that lead me to where I am today. This shit was my best only friend, that was the worst part. I honest to God wish any of this was a shit post. When she wanted to uproot and move a 4th time in almost 2 years. We were best friends, roommates, and she was never happy where we were living. And I got tired of her trying to move all over the East Coast. She would get all upset whenever I said that I wanted to at least try and stay where we were. It's not healthy to just leave every time you don't like the weather here. You hate your job here. You can't get a boyfriend here, etc. Also weird flex, but she claimed on a few occasions that she was prettier than every girl with brown eyes, me, because she has blue eyes. We're in our 20s. He was telling me how he got banned from RFB for being creepy in real life to one of the members. We are in our 30s. This shouldn't be a conversation we have. I finally realized I had been making excuses for his TTY behavior and reaching out to him because I thought that is what good friends do. The last contact I had with him is when he added me on Snapchat. I assumed it would be snaps of his kid. But it was just constant selfies sent to me. So I blocked him. Or unfollowed, or whatever you do on Snapchat. I live in severe chronic pain every day due to several illnesses, and the friend I had would either just complain about their own life non-stop to the point I'd be exhausted of conversation, or tell me if I were you I would have offed myself a while ago now. Maybe it's meant to be endearing. Saying I'm strong. It never comes across that way to me. It also seems like people have had past friends fake cancer. I've had that too. I have 2 stories. One was when he tried to refund something I sold him after he broke it and blamed it on me. I did not notice until my mom talked to me about it. My mom told me that he was a toxic friend, and I did not believe her until the incident above. The other one was a guy I knew had anger problems. I wasn't exactly friends with him, but I considered him a friend before because he stood up for me and helped me, but acted like a dick to me, but I tolerated him because of his help. One day I realized he was a horrible person after I politely asked him to be quiet during a movie the teacher in charge of our study hall showed us. I asked him a couple times to be less noisy until I had enough. I told him to be quiet, and he then replied that I didn't have the right to be angry. Throughout the month he sent me threatening messages and bragged that he bested me and that I was a lowly scammer. Some of his friends also complained to me about him till this day. I almost got my ass beat by a group of guys for some shit he did. It would have been a by association ass beating. When she got sick of me and threw me away like an old toy, replacing me almost instantly. When he decided to use me just to get to my ex of 2 months and hook up with her. I don't even think it was consensual on her part. She would hit me every time I said sorry. I admit to repeat that very often, and she claimed to do it for my own good, but it did worse than better, and it really hurt. We were kids as well, but that didn't help me to stop. When she ate a radioactive element, I then realized that she is toxic. When she lied about being pregnant and having abusive parents, who by the way are absolutely delightful, and being a self-abuser. And when I found out she talked shitty about everyone, including me. Supposedly her best friend and only person she could be real with, behind their backs. To be fair, parents can be verbally abusive and excellent at putting on a show to strangers. To a point it's almost gaslighting the victim because no one will believe them. What? Your parents are so nice. You're being dramatic.